beautiful jewelry from the most luxurious brands at a fraction of the retail price. Luxury Bazaar has the best selection. Thank you to Luxury Bazaar for sponsoring today's video. Their website will be linked down below. Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a Fragrance Friday, but I am back with a very exciting fragrance haul from Sephora. Woo! This is my first quarantine haul. It's also the last haul in store and the least practical haul that you will see right now because of course we are all social distancing. No one will be able to tell me just how amazing I smell with my new fragrances, but that's okay. I don't even care because fragrances uplift our mood. They enhance our spirits. It's like aromatherapy for the soul, and shopping for these fragrances gave me such a needed break from everything that is going on. It was like 30 minutes of pure bliss where I was so focused and in the moment, just smelling so many delicious fragrances. It almost didn't happen at all. In fact, I just had this feeling like I need to go down to Sephora and just pick up a few items now. I don't want to wait and try to go later in the week just in case. It was pretty late by the time I got there, and I didn't even realize, but all of the stores were already closing early at 7 o'clock. So I arrived maybe around 6:15. I was the last shopper in the store. So I had the entire store to myself, and it was such a nice experience. It was probably the best shopping experience I've had in a Sephora, and I smelled everything. I took my time. I didn't even care. It was just allowing myself to mentally unplug from everything that was going on. I smelled fragrances that I've smelled a million times before. I smelled everything that was new. I just went down and I took my time. The staff was so pleasant. They just let me do my thing. They were probably thinking, this poor girl, she should be at home. And here she is desperately trying to shop. And sure enough, Tuesday morning, I started to receive all of the emails saying Sephora, Nordstrom, I believe Neiman Marcus, all of the major department stores were shutting their doors for at least 2 weeks. But of course, they are monitoring the situation and everything changes day by day. We're kind of all monitoring the situation, really. So this was the last purchase in store. It was the last Sephora purchase that day before quarantine. And I haven't touched this bag since I picked up everything on Monday. So I'm excited to dig in finally and see if these fragrances still excite me the same way they did whenever I was shopping in store. So let's get into it, finally. Ooh, I don't know where to begin. Okay, I'm going to begin with this one, Hypnotic Poison. I've talked about this fragrance before. It is a classic, one of my all-time favorites, and I didn't have it in my collection. So when I saw it in store, I just figured, you know what, now is the time. I want to add this fragrance to my collection. It is so sexy and seductive. It's such a beautiful fragrance. I love the bottle. Ugh, it is just so dreamy. The same thing happens every time I visit that Sephora and I'm smelling fragrances. I always pick up Hypnotic Poison. I'll spray it on a blotter card, and there's something about this scent. I don't know if it gets on my fingers, my clothing, or what, but hours later, this is the only fragrance that I can still detect. Most of the fragrances I picked up are completely new to me. This was one that I simply couldn't resist. I also picked up a couple roller balls of fragrances that I am familiar with. Ooh. Remove the cellophane. And I think this was the last bottle. They usually carry it, but they don't have a large quantity because it's not new. I mean, not a lot of people I think are rushing out to Sephora, or to any store for that matter, to pick up Hypnotic Poison. They probably only receive a couple and then they sell easily because it's just beautiful and people know about it. So good. Okay. It's such a beautiful feminine fragrance. I am so happy to finally add this to my collection. It had been on my list for a while, and it's a lower price point, and this is the Eau de Toilette, so I figured why not. Hypnotic Poison has a top note of almond, middle notes of sambac jasmine, jacaranda, and a base of vanilla and musk. And this is considered to be a warm gourmand. It is so intoxicatingly beautiful. It truly is hypnotic. A great evening fragrance, a great date night fragrance. Really beautiful for fall, winter when you want those warm, cozy, more sensual types of fragrances. But it's one that always moves me and always makes me think, wow, that's incredible. So I think for a scent like that, it's sort of timeless. You know, you can wear it anytime you want that mood. I also picked up a couple fragrances from Dolce & Gabbana. So this one is Dolce & Gabbana Shine Eau de Parfum. This was in a little display case, and I had been Googling new fragrances for spring. I think this might be a new launch. I hate the bottle. I don't really like decorative bottles that are colorful and they have flowers and weird things on them. But when I smelled this fragrance, I was blown away. So it has this really pretty, bright, sunshine yellow box. You can tell it's going to be a happy, warm spring fragrance. I don't like this bottle at all. Because I have such a big fragrance collection, I did opt to get smaller bottles. I think it's never the best value per se, but for me it makes sense. If you're somebody who likes to only rotate between maybe 2 or 3 or 4 fragrances, it's always better money-wise to get the larger bottle. But for my case, I decided it did make more sense to choose the smaller bottle. So this is the little 1 ounce. It is sort of cute. I guess it's not that ugly. I just generally don't like things like this. I just pulled up the Sephora website and Dolce Shine is a new fragrance. It falls into the floral family. It's considered to be a fruity floral. So keynotes include mango, jasmine, and blonde woods. And then there's a very colorful description. It transports you to springtime, the first rays of sunlight trickling into blooming gardens, etc. So on and so forth. I can only picture the person who's writing these descriptions because they're always a bit outrageous. But this fragrance truly lives up to the hype. So let me spray it. I'm now mixing fragrances, but oh my gosh. It is so nice. Wow. I am so captivated by this fragrance. And Dolce & Gabbana has some beautiful fragrances. The original, I know there's now the one and only I saw in Sephora, but the original Dolce & Gabbana, the one, that is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. It just smells so amazing. It sort of has this old school vibe too. There's just nothing that is being released now that is similar. I think it is so nice. But this is so soft and yummy, and you do get a little bit of mango, which makes sense with the bright yellow bottle. It doesn't mention vanilla, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some vanilla maybe in the base because it is so soft and smooth. I don't typically lean towards fruity floral fragrances or anything that is really sweet. I don't know what it is about this fragrance that is so bright and vibrant. I just want to wear this every day for spring. It is so beautiful. And there is that gorgeous, sort of complex floral component that I really love. It's elegant. This is a beautiful, elegant garden party, maybe springtime wedding type of fragrance. I could see myself wearing this every day, but it could also be saved for a special occasion. Brunch, just something really fancy floral where you're wearing a beautiful dress. Ugh, I can just picture it. One day when we are all social again. I know absolutely nothing about this next fragrance, so I am incredibly excited to share. It is also D&G Parfum L'Imperatrice. No idea. This was the first fragrance as I was on my little spring fragrance journey. I stopped and I went, wow. It just sort of captivated me, and I had this response that just came out of my body. You know when you're smelling fragrances and you think, oh, that's nice, that's lovely, smelled it before. There are a lot of fragrances that smell eerily similar. You know, we kind of experience the same thing over and over, and you can get floral fragrance fatigue. That definitely exists. This fragrance stands out so far from the rest. It took me by surprise, and I immediately thought to myself, why have I never heard of this? And it was the last bottle on the shelf, and I thought, you are coming home with me. I cannot risk not being able to find this fragrance again because I've never heard of it. For all I know, this came out years ago, it's been discontinued, and I'll never be able to find it again. You have to let me know down in the comments if you've heard of this fragrance before. Am I crazy? Have I been living under a rock? I love that little D&G sticker. It's just so simple. Like the little Christian Dior sticker. Details. Ooh, it's like Christmas. Ugh. Ooh. This one I did get full size, but like I said, this was the very last bottle. Wow. Look how classic. This reminds me a lot of the Maison Dior fragrances, the exclusive fragrances from Chanel. It is so simple. This is a night and day difference from this. This I hate. It's too flashy for my taste, and it looks a little bit adolescent. I don't know. Love the fragrance, so I don't even mind. But this is exactly what I want in a fragrance bottle. It is so clear. The label doesn't have a lot going on. Simple, just the name, number 3. Which happens to be my lucky number. The big D&G logo down at the bottom. It's clean, classic, beautiful to display. This is minimal design, just done perfectly. Little cap. I'm mixing all sorts of fragrances, but I don't care. And even the juice is slightly pink. Oh. Now this fragrance is fruity floral. It is a robust fruity floral. Not too sweet, not too overpowering. It is so beautiful. It reminded me a little bit of the Rouge Trafalgar from Maison Dior. Let me look it up real quick so I can tell you what's in it. So it's a larger bottle, but it is an eau de toilette. This is a 3.3 fluid ounce. When I pull up the description on the Sephora website, there's not a lot of information. Succulent exotic fruits and bright pink florals give way to a musky, appetite-arousing base. So not the traditional list of notes. Curiosity got to me. I pulled up more information about this fragrance. This is part of the D&G anthology of fragrances under Dolce & Gabbana. It was released in 2009, so this is a very old fragrance. Isn't that funny how some fragrances just stand the test of time? And it was advertised by Naomi Campbell. She was, I guess, the face of the campaign. It features watermelon, kiwi, pink cyclamen, and musk. I definitely get the watermelon and kiwi. That's kind of exotic. Kiwi's exotic, watermelon's not. Fresh, beautiful. I love it. That's all I have in terms of the full-size bottles, but because it's Sephora, you can go a little bit rollerball crazy, and that's exactly what I did. So I'm gonna pull these out. Okay. Some of these are familiar, and then others were brand new fragrances. So I'm gonna start with this one. This is from the brand Pinrose. I had never heard of them before, but they had a big display against the wall. Lots of different fragrances, and they all had bright, sort of neon, iridescent bottles. So of course it attracts you visually. I went over and I was smelling them. They had a couple really nice fragrances, but this one stood out to me. This is Sun Saint. I think they only had 2 fragrances in the rollerball, and this happened to be one of them, so I went ahead and picked it up. This has coconut, sea salt, and lime, but it smells so much like every hotel lobby down on South Beach. And every time I walk into the one hotel, which is one of my favorite hotels, I am just overwhelmed by the intoxicating fragrance. And I remember saying to somebody, I think that that fragrance is the fig candle from Diptyque. And they said, no, 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 they had some special perfumer come and make their own custom fragrance for the lobby. And I thought, of course they did, because why not? But it smells nearly identical to this. If this was a candle, maybe a body lotion, bubble bath, I would definitely pick it up. But even in the rollerball, I don't mind. I think it's a fragrance that I would wear. Definitely daytime, beachy. In fact, if I were going to the beach or beach vacation, this would be the fragrance that I would take with me. Ooh, and I love that it's not actually a rollerball, it's a spray. Oh my gosh. This transports you to the tropics, somewhere distant, exotic. This is what we all need right now. If I could just spray the entire world with this fragrance from Pinrose Sun Saint, I think everybody would be a little bit happier and their mood would be a little bit lighter. Wow, okay. I have quite a cocktail going on right now of fragrances. Ugh! It's so funny because I swear it smells like the fig candle and yet it's coconut, sea salt, and lime. It smells like a delicious drink. As I'm going through all of these fragrances and smelling them again, they are invigorating my soul. They are so good. I thought for sure there might be one or two that I had a little bit of buyer's remorse, but no, so far so good. I love them all and they are so different from anything else that I have in my current collection, so it's perfect. So this next rollerball, this is from Juliette Has a Gun, and it's the fragrance, There were a couple that I thought were really nice, but as I was smelling them and trying to narrow them down, this was the one that kind of made me smile because it really does make you say, whenever you smell it. Let's see if I can even get this out. Ooh. Okay, packaging is really nice. Oh, wow. This looks kind of huge, doesn't it? Well, actually, this one's a little bit slimmer. I think they probably have the same amount. 8 milliliters. 7.5. So this has less. Wow, and it looked bigger. Matte black cap. Very chic. Ooh. I love a mister that's really fine where you just get a light puff of the fragrance and it's almost this mist you can barely detect. This fragrance is described as delicious, sensual, and elegant. It has notes of vanilla, neroli, sandalwood, and jasmine sambac. I don't think I could see myself owning the full bottle, but definitely the rollerball, because I do have a couple other gourmand fragrances that I think I would wear at the same time for the same occasion. But this is nice, and it's good to have some rollerballs on hand for travel. Why not get rollerballs of fragrances that you don't already own in the full size? That way it gives you some variety, and variety is the spice of life after all. What do I have next? Next I have my Burberry Black. I love this fragrance. This is one that I'm familiar with. I also love the original My Burberry, but they didn't have it in the rollerball. I might have actually picked up the original had they offered it, but I do love the black as well. This is more of an evening fragrance. It's very sexy and seductive. And oh look, it's the first one that actually has a rollerball and not a spray. I must say I prefer the spray versus the rollerball because I think it's a little bit more difficult to get the fragrance out. Oh. My Burberry Black is so sexy, so seductive. This is a beautiful fragrance and it is so classic. This is a timeless fragrance. My Burberry Black was inspired by a London garden amidst a gathering storm, heavy rain contrasting with warm and captivating floral notes. It contains sun-drenched jasmine, peach nectar, candied rose, amber patchouli. And because I set out to do a spring fragrance haul, I had to pick up some Chloe, of course. I think Chloe is the epitome of spring floral fragrance. So here I have the original Chloe Eau de Parfum, and then I also picked up Nomad, which is one of my favorite fragrances. It is so unique, so transportive. It makes you feel like you are just on a journey, on a trip distant travels. It takes you elsewhere. Oh look, it has a little spray. Ooh, I love Nomad so much. Nomad is so spicy and beautiful. It is so feminine. And yet there's almost an edginess to it. I picture one of the original classic Chloe bags, but with fringe, maybe in a suede, a whole boho look. Because it is a little bit distant, exotic. It's so beautiful. And then there's the original Chloe. This is the floral fragrance to end all floral fragrances. If there could only be one, Chloe, I think, is queen of the floral fragrances. Ooh, classic rollerball. So feminine, so dainty, elegant. Nobody does a classic floral fragrance quite like Chloe. And that completes my spring fragrance haul from Sephora. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and it gave you a little bit of a break. We could all use one right about now. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, your questions down below. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know what fragrances you're interested in. Have you picked up anything new for spring? Do you have any thoughts on the fragrances that I've mentioned? As I said, a couple of these I had zero information on, so I would love to hear what you have to say. Leave me a comment. We'll keep the conversation going there. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned, everything that I have today on my face down in the description box for your convenience. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.